Good afternoon. Hey, welcome in. Danny and Dusty with you on this Thursday afternoon. We're getting it going. The NFL's regular season starts tonight.
Dun, 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 dun.
Chiefs, Ravens, football. I just had this overwhelming feeling.
there it is.
Yeah.
Give it to Daddy.
I had this overwhelming feeling come over me last night.
It wasn't the drugs?
No, so I went to the Twitters. I just put out, I love football. I love football. I love football.
And I don't care who knows
I
it.
love the smell of fresh cut grass. I love tackling. I love the weird smell that locker rooms have. I love that smell. It's not a great smell. It's a comforting smell.
It
I
is.
love lamp.
I love lamp. I love shag carpet. I don't love shag carpet.
I hate shag carpet.
I don't like shag carpet at all. I love the smell of usually terrible barbecue on a Friday night, high school football. I love the smell of a lot of good barbecue on a Saturday in a parking lot of a college football stadium.
I love the frozen tundra.
No, I don't love that. It's cold. I don't like cold.
How about this? How about this?
Is it frozen anymore either? Because they use the heating coils.
I love John Facenda. How about that?
I love John Facenda. R.I.P. I think
Maybe?
very dead.
I think so.
I think he died like I want to say he died like over 10 years ago. This is going to be very awkward. Did we kill John Facenda?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
He died like in the 90s, didn't he?
September 26, 1984.
40 years ago. So
Yeah.
over 10, I was right.
A month before I was born.
He died.
Wow.
He died over 10 years ago.
I was way off.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave me that look and I was like, I think I'm right on this. I think he's long dead, like basically my entire life.
I guess
But-
just for some reason, that never really crossed my mind. But
Well, I think it might be, what was it, the Sables?
the Sables.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
and
The
Yeah.
NFL films.
Steve.
Yeah.
Sables. Aren't they? Isn't it Steve and Steve Jr.?
Um,
Well, I think Steve was the son.
yeah.
Yeah.
He died at 69 years old
Nice.
in 2012.
Not nice.
Steve Sable. R.I.P.
God, it was that long ago?
This is a very long time ago.
Wow.
And then
Father Ed.
Ed Sable. Yeah. Also dead.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Wow. NFL films taking big hits over the last 40 years.
Gunned down in their prime.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is my fun fact of every football season when we hear this. Little known fact that I'm trying to make a widely known fact.
Somebody's dead?
Southern Oregon University's
Oh.
fight song is an NFL Films fight song. NFL Films contracted out a composer to create a fight song for every NFL franchise. And I think they made 29 fight songs, and there were only 28 teams at the time.
So they had a spare?
They had an extra, and the band director at Southern's like, hey, man, we don't have a fight song. Can you help me out with this? And he's like, I got you. You can have this NFL team's fight song.
This non-existent NFL team?
Yeah, yeah. So contrary to popular belief, it is not the song Tequila! Nope, it's an actual NFL Films fight song. So the more you know. Knowledge is power. Football season is here. I love the fall. And although it may be touching a hundo outside here, it's officially football season. Welcome. We made it. All of our football's back today. All of our football is back today. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Let's get it. 5:20 tonight. Unless the world ends in the next 5 hours and 14 minutes. We're going to make it.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't feel good about it. No, don't feel good about it. I mean, I think the track record in this segment alone is pretty good, though. You know, we didn't kill off anybody that's currently alive in this segment.
True.
So
we were just woefully off base on the dates of death.
Give or take 40 years.
No, 30 for me. I mean, I said it was over 10 years ago. It was 40.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
It was 40.
Guess the price without going over.
Yikes. Yep, I $1 that. $1, Bob. Or Drew. $1, Drew. Drew Carey still doing that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
You still on that?
I mean, no, that's like a lifetime appointment.
Not dead?
Definitely.
Super
not.
skinny, though.
Oh, man.
I like my Drew Carey fat.
He looks weird with long hair, too.
Yeah, I like my Drew Carey fat. And with a beard.
I want that old crew cut back from the old Drew Carey
Bring
show.
back the Marine. Well, I mean, it was his Marine haircut.
That's the Drew Carey I know.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. The guy moved away from Cleveland and got all skinny when he got to L.A., you know? Cleveland rocks. Remember that?
Is it just the sunlight, or is it more drugs or better drugs in L.A.?
Yes.
Because he got the Letterman beard with it.
I think it's yes.
Probably microdosing.
Whoa. Everything to you is microdosing now. Everything to you. You go into the woods, microdosing. Yeah, you moved to LA, microdosing.
I'm speaking it into existence.
You go, you just covered, like, if you're in the largest city or in the middle of nowhere, you're microdosing. You're just trying to normalize it everywhere now.
I am.
I'm going to microdose the heck out of this sandwich over here.
Yeah.
I've never done it, so.
I doubt you're going to microdose that sandwich.
We're going to macrodose that.
Yeah, it is a macro dose of that sandwich.
Who are we fooling
Full
here?
show. Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Vicenda would have been 111 on the 26th of this month. Taken too soon. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gunned down in his prime.
now our legendary voices can't even live to be 111 years old anymore.
What is this world coming to?
What's with, like, Willard Scott, ooh, also dead, he can't even do...
Quick, name dead people.
He can't even do the Schmucker's
John
Jam
Kennedy.
birthday celebrations on the Today Show of our 111-year-old voices of NFL football.
Yeah, the oldest man in the world is now 112.
Really?
Yeah, the oldest man in the world was 116.
I think it was 117.
Was it 117?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just died.
Yeah.
The oldest person in the world right now, I believe, is a 118-year-old woman.
Wow.
And she looks exactly like you would think a 118-year-old would look.
California raisin.
Oh, it looks like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt.
Let's see here.
I don't know if I could you think of any time period where it's got to be crazier to have lived for 118 years? The changes you have seen
No,
over the last
so-
118 years.
So that
Yeah,
lady,
you've seen
that
some
lady
stuff.
was born in what, like 1906 or 7?
You
You're
lived
talking?
through every world war.
Yeah, you went from when you were born, like the car
Brand new.
was like, whoa,
Like horse and buggy.
yeah.
Indoor electricity was not everywhere. Indoor plumbing was not everywhere.
Back when they thought that traveling over 60 miles an hour in a car would rip your face off.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have windshields then, so it kind of probably did.
Mm.
I mean, you were just after, like, the only thing that she didn't see was, like, the Wright brothers.
Oof,
But it was,
yeah.
like,
Kitty Hawk was 1896?
1903.
1903,
Okay.
I think,
yeah,
yeah.
1903.
Yeah.
And look, we need to figure this out between Ohio and North Carolina. Both of them are claiming the Wright brothers.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, I was not aware of that. I
You
just
didn't
thought-
know that?
I always thought it was North Carolina.
I believe both of their license plates, like North Carolina is first in flight. Ohio has something about the Wright brothers too.
And Dirty Rivers.
We need to figure that out. I'm gonna leave that to y'all over there. I'm just gonna stay out here in Oregon, stick to the rivers and the lakes that I'm used to. You know, we're just
Yeah.
a Pacific Wonderland out here. That's all we do. You know, Lewis and Clark, they ventured out here, and their diaries indicated they hated it out here.
Good Lord.
They called it a wasteland.
It rains, man.
Yeah, they were none too thrilled with this is what we did this for. It's like, well, just stick around for a while. The summers are great.
1876 was when the first telephone patent was put in.
18 what?
76.
All right.
So we're 30 years removed from a telephone.
And 130 years from America.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. Yeah. Wrap your head around that one, huh?
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
Yikes.
Yikes. Was she closer to
Well, Civil War ended in 65.
Yep.
So she's
Okay, was she closer to the end of the Civil War or the first commercial airliner?
Civil War.
Really? Go
Yeah.
Google when the commercial airliner
I'm
was.
going to say 62.
1962? That seems late. Where are we at with the first commercial airliner?
Well, technically it's the Zeppelin. It's 1909.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out
Yeah.
well. Hindenburg. She saw the Hindenburg too. She's seen a lot, man. The Titanic. The Titanic
Yeah.
sinking was in her life. Golly.
World's first commercial airline, 1949.
1949.
The first scheduled commercial flight, 1914.
Okay.
On January 1st, Tony Jannus flew
Where'd they
a
fly from?
Benoist 14 biplane from St. Petersburg to Tampa, Florida,
So they
17
went
miles.
from Portland to Gresham?
Yeah,
Carry-
it was
yes.
17 miles.
carrying a single paying passenger.
Yeah, that's technically correct, but we're talking about the idea of like
Yeah,
Yes,
but
I got
at the
707
same
kind
time,
of
however long that took was way faster than the other options that they had. Think about that.
probably.
Yeah.
Well, how long did that flight take?
I don't know.
Let's see, shortened travel time by more than 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Turns out going 18 miles an hour
But
on
by
that.
the time you go through security and TSA, and it's just, you might as well just drive.
Do you think that's like the origin of like dad went out for milk and never came back because like you had to go a long way?
It took a long time to go get milk. So much milk.
Yeah, dad went to go pick up some groceries. We never saw him again. It did take 3 days round trip for him to get there usually, but this one he just never came back. Man, yeah, what a time to be alive for her.
Dad.
I mean, we should put her on some just be like, hey, we're going to put you on a Concorde jet. We are going to put you on one of those super trains that they got there in Japan and just let her go fast. Ricky Bobby this thing. I want to go fast. 118 years old, huh? I don't want to live that long.
No, it's too long.
I don't think I want to live that
I
long.
can't imagine the pain that I would be in.
Rob and I were having this conversation, and he was like, I want to live as long as I can.
Yeah, I remember this, and I just looked at him like, why?
Yeah.
I want to live as long comfortably
Yeah.
as I can. If I need to if you need to wipe my drool, just all over the wall, man. My brains. Just get it over with.
Dang.
I've already told my wife this. She's like, why do you want to do this? I'm like, because I'm telling you now, if I'm ever a burden on my family,
Yeah.
be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want no part of that.
Yep.
What you do with my body afterwards, sell it to science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, my goal is to be like the guy who sold his mother to the funeral home or to the lab. I'm sorry, and then the lab sold it to the military, and then they blew it up with a rocket.
Do you know the last person to be alive from the 1800s died in 2013?
Good
No,
God.
2017.
Wow.
2017.
That's
old.
so insane.
Emma Morano, 1899 to 2017.
Think about that.
Yep.
That's, I mean, again, the woman we're talking about now is 1905, 6 years later.
Well, old Uncle Spud, remember him? He was born 1896. And
Oh,
old seven finger Spud.
seven finger Uncle Sputter there.
Yeah.
I
Dang.
had a great
A
grandmother
good run, dude.
when I was 5. I think she died when I was 5
Explains
or
why
6.
a laundry machine would take off some fingers, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't used to that.
Industrial safety was
Yeah.
not the same then.
Mm-mm.
But I think she was born in like the 1870s.
What?
Yeah, there was like a weird age gap. Like she had a kid super, super, super late. And I was
That's like the John Tyler.
whoa.
story,
Yes,
like
it's
the-
like
the-
that.
But still
Old-
has like a living grandchild.
He has
Yes.
a grandson
Yeah.
John Tyler does, and he was.
Again, this is like what 35 years ago, so it's it's not quite as crazy, but it was like, holy crap!
John Tyler was our 10th president, and he has
has
a
a-
grandson that's still alive.
Isn't he like 80 something?
He was born in 1790.
How is that physically possible?
I think is it Harrison Ruffin Tyler that is the one that's still alive?
I don't know.
That's
Last living
nuts.
grandchild of, let's see here. Still kicking, it looks like. 95 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
And because John Tyler had his kid when he was in his 60s, and then his kid had
I think it was like 70 something.
this dude in his 70s.
Yeah.
And so now here we are 130 years later, still one kicking.
Man.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Crazy.
All right. Well, so that's dead people,
Super
alive
old
people.
We really ran the gamut there, didn't we?
But the moral of the story is football's back. And by the way, that lady, older than the NFL. How about that for bringing it home?
Hey,
Huh? She was like 12 when the NFL started. Yeah.
Sorry,
Those
that
are
was,
ominous bells. Like, those are like church bells. A funeral? All right. Well, we got some football that we got to get to today. Bob Beeler's going to join us. He's the play-by-play man for the Boise State Broncos. He's seen a lot in his time as the play-by-play man for Boise State. This is his 16th year on the call for the Broncos. He joins us at 2 o'clock today to get a preview of the Broncos as they get ready for a trip to Eugene and Autzen Stadium. We've got to get our picks in today. Picks are back, baby. Let's go. And we got to get our regular season and Super Bowl winning picks. Yeah, let's get this thing going. But where we got to start, the last 6 years have been dominated by these two. Will the reign continue? Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Week 1 of the NFL regular season gets underway tonight. 5:20 kick on NBC. The Kansas City Chiefs start their quest for a three-peat, taking on the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
And the Chiefs won't be able to do it without their superfan.
No, no. Chiefsaholic, 17 and a half years in prison.
3 years of supervised probation, too.
Dang.
Yeah, 17 and a half with no early release.
No early release. Remember, Chiefsaholic was the guy who was
Ross.
bankrolling his Chiefs road games and season tickets by robbing banks. Literally.
Is that frowned upon?
I think so.
It's a
Right,
step
not done
beyond the
that.
Chase Money glitch.
You just should have done the Chase
Yeah.
Money glitch from yesterday. That's a callback to yesterday's worst day on the web. But he got 17 and a half years in the slam. I find it very fitting that happens on the day of the opening game.
Perfect.
He's like, what time is TV time for us here?
Also, how disgusting is it for all of these monsters that live on the East Coast to have to watch football starting at 8:20?
Yeah, well, how about we just frame it as having to wait until 8:20?
Yeah, that's what I
You
mean.
know,
Like,
having to wait until 8:20.
God, couldn't be me.
It's a different world. That East Coast bias is very, 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 very real.
And then they come out here and they go, "Oh my God, we
It's
can watch
heaven.
football the entire day."
Yeah.
Yeah, starting at 9,
Yeah, you could do it all day long.
All night long.
and you don't have to go to bed at midnight.
Well, I mean, you do if you catch that Hawaii game.
That's true.
If you're a real sicko,
Sure.
you watch that Hawaii game and you're up till about 1 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning watching
it's
those
true.
things. And it's glorious because it's daytime there, and you're like, "What is this? This is crazy."
It is super weird when you see the sun still out and you're like, "It's pitch black outside. What's
Uh-huh.
happening here?"
All right. Well, we get this game tonight to kick off the NFL's regular season, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson, 1-4 all time against the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, if you're going to be 1-4 against a team, it's probably going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, the AFC Championship game, he done threw the ball pretty well. But the problem with Lamar Jackson and the Kansas City Chiefs is whatever it is that Steve Spagnuolo has in his secret sauce, he finds a way to absolutely grind this offense to a halt. Remember last year in the AFC Championship game, they scored a touchdown on their second drive, right? Kansas City got Baltimore went 3 and out. Kansas City gets the ball, marches down the field, scores a touchdown. Lamar Jackson and company, they put together a quick strike drive and end up putting up a touchdown on the board. And then after that, the Baltimore Ravens did not score a touchdown from the first quarter until there was about 4 minutes left in the game is when they started their drive. I think they punched it in with like 2.5 to go to make it 17-10. Spagnuolo gets a read of what Baltimore's doing. And look, doesn't matter vertical threat. It doesn't matter new coordinator. What happens? They just grind them down and pull the brakes back on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And this year, Lamar Jackson's got to be that dude. We're talking about these two guys have won the MVP 4 of the last 6 seasons. Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
They're both pretty good, and it's interesting. You look at this is quote unquote the healthiest you'll be all season, and the Ravens. Looking at their injury report, they've got some knocks and some dings because they're the Ravens, but it's not as detrimental as it has been in the past. You look up and down the list, and you're like,
And it's only week 1.
yeah, I know, but I mean, for this kind of a matchup,
Yeah.
you basically have everything that you're going to have for the season.
Yep.
I mean, the one guy I think you could make an argument for being impactful is Trayvon Mullen at the corner spot. But beyond that, they've got everything they're going to have.
Yep.
And so if you're not getting it done here, and again, difference between being the beginning of the season versus the end of the season, I do think that there's more on this game than usual.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Not even just the impact, but it does kind of set the tone for your season. And they, the Chiefs have done this now twice in a row. They're going for that three-peat. Remember, what did we get out of the Lions last year to start the season? And it set their season off.
I don't remember the Lions start to their season.
They beat the Chiefs.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
They did?
Yeah.
Look at that. I forgot that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
that was the Thursday night game.
Nope. Have zero recollection of
Nothing?
Nothing.
Great game.
Does nothing
Oh.
in my brain.
Wow.
Still, you said it, and I'm like, nope, no, none.
But reminder, it can be a way to kind of catapult your season.
Yeah. And this is going to be an interesting year for Baltimore now that you have, Mark Andrews back. You get to see Zay Flowers. That injury was gnarly to Mark Andrews last year. Isaiah Likely. So you have two tight ends that you can kind of trust for Baltimore. Derrick Henry in the backfield with Lamar Jackson. That could be absolutely terrifying for defenses across the NFL because you have two viable, legit running threats. Is this going to be the year we see the fall off of Derrick Henry, though? You want to talk about carry thresholds and what that means to a running back.
We've been talking about it for 3 years.
But eventually,
At some
it's
point,
going
it has
to happen.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, it's going to happen. It still hasn't yet. I think it's a testament to who he is.
And that's something that you cannot. That may be the biggest difference that Steve Spagnuolo and the defense have to have in their approach against Lamar Jackson is you can't just sit somebody on the edge and say we are going to box in Lamar Jackson now because
there's a hammer in the
you
middle.
are going to allow a larger running lane for Derrick Henry if you do that and do that at your own peril.
I can tell you who doesn't like that idea. Any of the DBs in the middle of the field.
No, or any of the linebackers for that matter, because he's bigger than them too.
It's true, he is.
I mean, he is an absolute unit.
The Chiefs don't really have that big of linebackers now that I think about it. They
They
got a big boy in the middle in Chris Jones, but
Are we seeing the two MVPs again though this year? Because we've seen Mahomes, Lamar, back-to-back years. The 2 years before that, it was Aaron Rodgers winning his back-to-back, and then you had Lamar and Mahomes again.
your favorite
4 of
right
6.
now, according to across 6 different books, Patrick Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2,
Oh,
Burrow 3, Hurts 4, Stroud 5, Love 6, Rodgers 7, Lamar 8.
8th.
That's weird, right?
Good value on Lamar Jackson.
He's at plus 1,600. Hell, you can get him for plus 2,000 at some books.
Yeah, I think that might be when you see like Josh Allen sitting there at 2, right?
Because
we know he is going to have to carry that
Yeah.
Bills team and bear a bigger load than he has before if they're going to be successful.
That's tough for me to see.
You win your division, you go deep into the playoffs, and oh, by the way, Philly fans are going to bet it. So,
Yeah, I guess.
they're going to be all on board with that. Oh, great value on Jalen Hurts. Great value on Jalen Hurts. Lamar at 8 is pretty interesting, though.
Christian McCaffrey was it?
Yeah, when's our first non-quarterback?
17th.
That's our first non-quarterback.
Christian McCaffrey.
17th.
Sandwiched in between Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins. To give you an idea of where that's at, it goes McCaffrey at 17, Cousins at 18, Caleb Williams at 19.
Yeah, that's quite the drop-off there.
Tyreek Hill is 5 spots behind Caleb Williams. So he's the first wide receiver. He is ahead of Justin Jefferson, which makes sense.
Where's Aaron Rodgers on this? Where's Rodgers? Rodgers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th.
7th.
Just
So-
ahead of Lamar.
Just ahead of Lamar Jackson. Well, Aaron Rodgers had quite the comment today.
Mm.
I don't know if it's adding up to what we've been hearing coming from within the walls of the New York Jets. We'll get to that after Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the NFL season is finally here. Week 1 kicks off in Kansas City with the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. 5:20 kick on NBC and Peacock. The Chiefs 3-point favorites. Marquise Brown out for Kansas City with a shoulder injury. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin says Russell Wilson was limited in practice today due to calf tightness. It's the same calf he hurt in his training camp conditioning test. Over in baseball, the Mariners start the day 5.5 games back of the Astros in the AL West with just 22 games remaining on the schedule. A matinee this afternoon in Oakland against the A's. Brian Wu on the bump for Seattle. Joey Estes for Oakland. First pitch in just a few minutes on Root Sports. The Astros wrapping up their road trip today in Cincinnati, top of the 9th, and they trail the Reds 1-0 thanks to a Ty France solo shot in the 7th inning. Giants and third baseman Matt Chapman have agreed to a 6-year, $151 million extension. The deal starts next year and replaces the last 2 years of a 3-year, $54 million contract he signed earlier this year. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Aaron Rodgers, 7th best odds to win the MVP. Coming off an Achilles. You're 40 years old. Coming off an Achilles. That is going to be kind of where all eyes are. New York made a big gamble in bringing Aaron Rodgers. Last year, it lasted all 4 plays. And he kept teasing, oh, maybe I'll be able to come back at some point last year, which everybody kind of rolled their eyes at and said, there's no effing way. But now he is back. Reports out of New York are that something seems a little off with him. I don't know. Might be that he's 40. Might be that he's coming off an Achilles. Probably a combination of both of those things, though. But Rodgers today said, I have a lot of pride in my performance. So when I take the field, I expect greatness because I've done it before. So that's the kind of standard I hold myself to. What are we expecting out of Aaron Rodgers this year?
I have no idea. And that's the thing is, going into last year, before the Achilles went, I did expect greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was he coming off of?
An MVP season.
Right? And there, even if you thought he's going to lose a little bit on his fastball.
I guess, no, 2 years.
2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah.
prior, he had.
But the
was an
season he
MVP.
came off of before that was very good.
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't see any slowdown.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, he can't make that throw anymore.
He did miss some time in 2022. I don't think he played a full season, did he? In 2022? Because we saw Jordan Love in Kansas City that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at a guy that I think 2020. No, he played all 17 games. All 17 games in 2022. Threw for 3,600 yards, which I would say that's a little bit of a drop off for him because he's around 4,000 yards guaranteed every single year. But Rodgers now has think of the weapons that are around Aaron Rodgers, though. I mean, if you have an Aaron Rodgers team with Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, which is his little safety blanket that he has, Breece Hall back in as a running back with a competent quarterback to keep a defense honest.
And getting his Madden scan updated.
Is what?
Did you not see this? So,
Madden? Oh, his Madden scan.
His
I
scan?
thought you said his Med-in scan, and I was like an MRI?
Yeah,
no, his Madden scan. They did him dirty.
They gave him a 7 head.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like Peyton Manning was like, egregious forehead.
It was bad.
It was really
They've
bad.
since updated it.
Okay, they
I
rescanned
think,
his face.
I think they came out to practice and gave him the new scan. Because not only did it not look like him, they gave him a cone head.
Yeah.
It was bad.
He must have moved.
Sauce Gardner did him dirty. His own teammate did him dirty, but it has since been updated.
All right. Well, hey, so all good news then. All good news coming out of New York right now.
Positive for the Jets.
It
sounds a lot like last year.
We got great news coming out of New York camp right now. Robert Saleh did update the status of Hassan Reddick today. He has still not shown up. So you traded a 3rd-round pick for a guy that is not going to be playing.
And man, he is taking fines on the chin at this point.
Yeah. What's
he up to, like $2 million in fines?
Probably more than that at this point.
Because they said Ayuk was at
Because
around
$50K a day. That's
and then there's
big chunk of money.
Well, it's also additional fines for like longer periods, and then
and he missed out. He's already missed out on over $3 million, like midway through training camp, because he didn't show up, so he didn't get his workout bonuses.
Yeah, workout bonus. Yeah,
and so
Oof.
For a guy that really wants money, he doesn't seem like he's wanting money all that much right now.
Crazy.
But if Aaron Rodgers comes out and he has another 4,000-yard season and he looks. And look, he's not going to be anything close to prime Aaron Rodgers because even in 2022, he was not looking like prime Aaron Rodgers. But if you have a guy who throws close to 4,000 yards, he is distributing the ball and he uses his variety of targets. And I think that's one thing that you have in New York. You look at balance of their receivers. You have a big body receiver in Mike Williams. You have the burst go-to guy in Garrett Wilson. You have the possession receiver in Alan Lazard. You have back out in Breece Hall that you can trust. He's got a safety valve. He's got a big 3rd down target. He's got a possession receiver, and he's got a game-breaking wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers usually thrives in those scenarios. And if you can get even a shell of what he was when he won the MVP, I don't know, in 2021, then you're looking at a New York Jets team in a division where the Buffalo Bills did not improve their roster this year. The Miami Dolphins improved in some spots, but had to make some really tough decisions in others. So you can kind of call them a wash. The New England Patriots are going to be an absolute disaster this year by design. The Jets could be one of those plucky, sneaky teams that we're writing them off because of the big unknown surrounding Aaron Rodgers.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a team in the NFL that you're like, yes, they improved this season?
A team in the NFL?
Just in the NFL in general.
Yeah.
To me, it's the Bears, but beyond that, maybe the Texans?
The Bears, the Texans are definitely one. The Atlanta Falcons are one that
That's true, because the
improved
quarterback play
dramatically,
was
too.
so bad.
Yeah.
Hot take. I feel like the Texans are going to regress this year.
No, I
don't
said
think
this.
I think it's a lukewarm take.
Here's the thing that I said this in like before right when the NFL season ended was I know there's going to be a lot of hype around CJ Stroud, DeMeco Ryans, but on one hand, you're going to get a book on CJ Stroud. You are going to get an improved division as well, just by the health of Trevor Lawrence. And like some people have been talking about the Houston Texans like they're a team that went
12-5,
13-4 last year. They won the division at 10-7. They won their division at 10-7 last year, which, if you're keeping track, the only team that was worse was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which went 9-8 in the worst division in all of football.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's not some 7-9 BS.
It is not 7-9 BS because you can't have that anymore.
Nope.
But the Colts will have Anthony Richardson back. Trevor Lawrence will be healthy. The Tennessee Titans appear to have gained competency, which they were just an incompetent franchise last year. But they're without their bell cow and Derrick Henry now moving forward. So you look at a division where 2 of the 4 teams also are going to be improved just based on health alone, right?
Sure.
I could definitely see a regression for the Houston Texans.
It just feels like around the NFL that there's a lot.
But they got Stephon Diggs. They got better.
Yeah. But do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like there's been, with the exception again, to me, the Bears are the one that stand out because the improvements made in the first round of the draft alone are monumental. It feels like the teams reinforced, buttressed even, but didn't get better. Like, that team got better. There's not a ton of them.
I'll say
a lot of maintaining, mild adjustments, retaining, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, looking around the NFL landscape, it doesn't feel like there's been really too many seismic and/or monumental shifts. And no, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a team that surprises us out of nowhere. Maybe Trevor Lawrence takes the leap that we all thought he was football Jesus, and he has an MVP caliber campaign, something along those lines. Like that's one of those. I mean, CJ Stroud had that last year. We went, oh crap. I think there's going to be one of those storylines this year where Geno Smith 2 years ago, we went, holy.
Yeah. I mean, on the surface, the Ravens seem like a team that would pop out just because they got a big name in
Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. But they also lost Patrick Queen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big loss to your secondary. Ronald Darby left for Jacksonville too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like even where there's changes, there was subtractions too.
Geno Stone went to the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they had
a
lot of subtractions there, but that's the beauty of the NFL, and that's why they want to be
it's the
a
parity.
league of parity.
It is. That's what I mean. It truly is interesting that this year, and really last year too, it feels like where in the past don't get me wrong, there's the ditch diggers too. Shout out the Patriots and the Panthers right now.
That's right.
But beyond that bottom probably 4 teams of the
Don't leave the Raiders out.
I would say the Patriots and Panthers are true doo-doo. The Raiders are the next, like they're the fertilizer as opposed to just a straight crap. They've got a little blend there. Then probably the Cardinals. Outside of those really crappy teams, you want to throw the Titans in there, that's fine. There's not a lot of real bad doo-doo on the surface.
Like we have a texter that says the Eagles got better with Saquon Barkley. I still don't know.
They lost Jason Kelce.
Well, I don't know how you replace Jason Kelce or Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, I don't know if they got better. Did they add a better running back? Sure.
Yeah.
You just lost the heart and soul of your team
on both lines of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
And not to mention the absolute S show going on behind the scenes. I don't know if that needs to be factored into the whole getting better part of it.
Yeah, if your head coach and quarterback hate each
Yeah,
other.
if they want to kill each other, that's not exactly a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's called getting better.
They also lost Marcus Mariota. People forget. Backup quarterback.
The Giants got better? I guess if you want to say Malik Neighbors, but they got Danny Dimes back.
No, Burns.
You know what?
Burns.
They did get Brian Burns for nothing.
I mean,
They got him for nothing.
Did get better. Their roster did get better.
And their front four, top 5 in the NFL, pretty easily.
We haven't talked about this though. Did you see the heat that Joe Shane is taking for his Hard Knocks?
No.
The quote on Hard Knocks. There's a little shot of Ryan Poles and Joe Shane talking. And Joe Shane Mike's picked him up saying, must be nice not having to scout a quarterback.
Wow. Wow. Oops.
Whoopsies.
I mean, that's a lot like the Commander's vice president saying the quiet part out loud. Of which he got fired, by the way, today.
Yeah, he did get fired.
He got fired.
He got canned. He gone.
Got suspended, and then he got fired.
He gone.
I bet you the rest of that video is coming out soon.
Oh, man.
Can't wait to see it.
Yep. So they did. I will say, yes, Giants did get better this year.
You still suck, and you are the 6th team in that pile of doo-doo.
Yeah.
They suck
You're
so
in there.
much.
You're in there.
They are genuinely an awful team.
I don't know.
with no
Teams
direction.
are it's going to be hard to run the football against them.
Yeah,
They
their
have
front four,
elite pass rushers too,
incredible.
but their offense is going to be a
Egregiously
sight
bad.
to behold.
Worst
Yeah.
offense, Patriots or Giants?
Patriots.
Think so?
Yeah, their offensive line is
That's true.
even worse.
Yeah, the Giants did seem to patch that up.
Yeah, but we got a running back.
Mm.
We got 2.
And you got rid of Zeke, which is like addition by subtraction. There, they got better. They got better by not having Ezekiel Elliott on their roster. Ugh.
All right.
God.
Yeah. So there are teams that got better.
Yeah. It's a sliding scale of better.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the NFL. And that's why their salary cap is so hard to figure out. They do that intentionally. It's like, yeah, these teams that like the Giants, yeah, they got better, but their baseline was so far down and they had money to spend. They're like, we got to spend it somehow. And then the Panthers are just a rudderless ship just wandering around the ocean
When
right
we
now.
look back in 5 years, what era would be, because I think if you're talking eras of football, like 3 to 5 year periods of the worst football you've ever seen, it's the late 80s, early 90s Patriots, the 0-16 year before and 2 years after Lions, and I think the Panthers are right there right now as far as the most talent depraved S shows that rudderless. There's no saving grace.
I will point you to the Cleveland Browns, kind sir. Hugh Jackson led Cleveland Browns. That you want to talk about a organization that had no idea what it was doing. And playing in a really good division too.
Didn't they also find a way to win
exponentially
like 7
worse.
games like once every 2 years though?
Let me show you a 3-year run where they went 3-13, 1-15, 0-16. That would be 2015 through 2017.
God, did they I thought they had one in there where they
I will
snuck one
also
in.
give you 2008 through 2013. 4-12, 5-11, 5-11, 4-12, 5-11, 4-12.
I guess that's the era I'm thinking of. I guess it was only 5. I thought they had a 7 winner in there. I thought they
That
hit the Jeff Fisher 7-9 BS.
that's doo-doo, baby. And then let me give you.
Those teams weren't entirely bereft of talent. They were just bereft of quarterback.
Oh no, they were really bad. I mean, they were really bad. They were really bad.
I just look at this Panthers team, and I genuinely think of it as like those Patriot teams that you're just like, that's the worst team I've ever seen play football.
Quarterbacking the 2011 Cleveland Browns, Colt McCoy and Seneca Wallace.
Oh baby,
Okay,
pride and joy of Texas and Iowa State. Good Lord.
They did have Peyton Hillis, but not the good year of Peyton Hillis. at running back.
Not that year.
Their leading rusher rushed for 587 yards that year.
Who was it?
Peyton Hillis.
Oh, it was Peyton Hillis. Oh, God.
Peyton Hillis was their leading rusher that year.
That was after the steroids cleared out?
Their leading receiver that season, Greg Little, 709 yards.
He got paid after that, too, didn't he? Did he go to the Rams and get paid?
Josh Cribbs was on that team.
Ah.
He had 518 yards receiving.
Was he returning the ball yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He had more kick return yards
Then
than
receiving
receiving
yards?
yards
Yeah,
that
that sounds
season. Actually, twice as many kick returns.
He was really good. Really good kick returner. But you understand what I'm saying about the Panthers, right? Like,
Phil
they're-
Dawson was the bright spot there.
Ay, kicker for what, 17 years?
Yeah, really long time.
But you understand what I'm saying about the Panthers, right? Just
Yeah.
their level of suck, and there's no redemption for that team.
Miami Dolphins are on the Vancouver Ford text line.
Ooh.
They've got some stinkers in there,
Yeah,
too.
they did.
Yeah.
The post-Marino era was not favorable to them.
Well, no. Dave Wannstedt tried his hardest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think they align more with what you were talking about with the thinking of the Browns.
That 1-7 year here or there.
No, they were usually in like the 7 or 8 win window.
Okay.
With
The Ricky Williams Dolphins.
the worst year was like 5-11. Oh, there's a 1-15 in
There it
2007.
is.
But the very next year went 11-5.
How?
Tony Sperano.
Good Lord.
That's
I
how.
do not. That does not live in my brain.
They went 9-7, 6-10, 1-15, and then 11-5.
Who did they draft?
God.
Right?
No, Chad Pennington was a quarterback that year.
Oh, so post-injury Dolphins Pennington with no arm led them to 11 wins?
He sure did.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah. Best player on the team, according to Football Reference that year.
Goodness gracious.
And remember, the Tony Sperano, if I'm correct, he's the one that was the Wildcat year. Ronnie Brown in the Wildcat.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
They threw the Wildcat at everybody, and NFL teams were like, we have no idea.
There was a month period where it drove NFL teams absolutely insane.
Well, this has taken us to a weird and dark spot, so we're way over.
There you go. I'm bad.
Coming up next, the sports. Oh, I've got something for you, baseball. I have something baseball related.
We have picks too.
Next on The Fan. Today, in Imagine How Bad the Mariners Would Be, I give you this. This comes from Mariners PR stats last night. Most quality starts with 0 walks in Major League Baseball since 2022. Number 1 on the list, George Kirby with 26. Number 2, Logan Gilbert with 20. So the
Who do they pitch for?
the Seattle Mariners,
Oh.
the two best pitchers with quality starts and 0 walks in Major League Baseball over the last 2 seasons pitch for the Mariners, yet their offense is still dreadful. Could you imagine how bad the Mariners' offense would be if they had to face Logan Gilbert
Oh, God.
or George Kirby? They don't even that's the best thing that they got going for them is that they don't ever have to face their own pitching staff.
Felix Hernandez is over there as the DiCaprio meme, just pointing.
Oh man.
I've seen that before.
that
How
tough
are
living.
you so inept
for
for so long?
good question.
And then they come out yesterday and score 16 runs
But you know,
with only a single home run.
Well, that's the A's.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like you go through cycles, and you get things wrong.
Yeah.
That happens. But how can you have generational pitching multiple times
Yeah.
and continue
Yeah.
to fail to score runs?
Not good, Bob. Not
I
good.
don't understand it.
I saw today. I've been watching the Reds Mariners game or Reds Astros game, and Ty France had himself a day at the plate. He went 2 for 3 with a dinga today, a solo shot. In that series where the Reds swept the Houston Astros,
Hate to see it.
Ty France went 9 for 11.
Remind me again, was he put on waivers?
Yeah, they ended up trading him. But they were like, yeah, he'll be our sacrificial lamb because he's definitely the problem here. He went 9 for 11 with a home run, a double, and 3 RBI in this series where they swept the Houston Astros.
Seems almost impossible to go 9 for 11 and only have 3 RBI.
Yeah, not hitting for power.
You know what I mean?
You're just hitting to get on base, man. Get out of a slump and start hitting better.
It's got to slap that thing.
But this is but that's part of like why the Mariners are so bad though, is that they reach and grasp for straws
Endlessly.
and they're the wrong ones at every turn.
Let's and again, a lot of this is like, well, Julio's having a bad year. Julio alone not sucking doesn't save this.
No.
It makes them better, certainly, because he's been bad
Absolutely.
this year. He just had a slump year. Just it is what it is. I bet you sometime this offseason we'll hear, oh yeah, no, Julio's having surgery on his ankle. And it's gonna go, oh, okay. But I cannot fathom that. It's truly like, look, I'm spoiled as a Cardinals fan. There's a farm system of the last 40 years. They've churned out Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer.
Not bad.
But for the love of God, get in on somebody once.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are one of the cheapest teams in baseball, and yet they've managed to get Matt Holliday, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. Like, for the love of God, go get somebody over a decade.
Yeah, Ginger Fit Dad says, funny thing is that the Mariners can still win the division. They blew a 10-game lead in 25 games. 24 games, and now are 5 games back. If they win, they'll be 4 games back with 22 to play.
Yeah, didn't they drop under 500? Oh, they're back to 500
They're back
now.
to 500. They'll be over. because they absolutely dominated.
How many games
yesterday.
were they over 500? Weren't they like 18, 19 games over 500?
Yeah. Got to get hot at the right time. Got to get hot at the right time. But they got 3 more at the Astros. Maybe they can figure that out. All right, let's get to hour number 2. We got our picks for the season. Let's go. Still to come, Bob Beeler, the play-by-play voice of the Boise State Broncos, joins us at the top of next hour. This is Danny and Dusty on The Fan. Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Thursday afternoon, the start of the NFL season. Tonight with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens, which means we got to get our season picks on the record. We need to put these on the record. You can put it on the board. Yes. Without further ado, our division and a commercial playing in my ear. Okay, now, without further ado, or maybe there is a do.
More ado.
This is much ado about do. All right. Our division and Super Bowl winner. All three of us. Let's go. All right. First up, let's just start in the NFC West. Who is your division winner in the NFC West?
Oh, don't make me say it.
Say it. Say it.
Stupid Chiefs.
NFC West.
Oh, NFC West. Okay. 49ers. I think you said AFC West.
NFC West.
I
we know what your AFC West is.
I went with the 49ers. I did hesitate. I'm half buying the Rams. I know how terrible that sounds, but I don't know. There's no Aaron Donald, which gives me great pause.
That is all of my pause.
Great pause. But I don't know, man. McVay and the Rams and Stafford, I don't know. But I am taking the Niners.
All right.
Niners.
Clean sweep. 49ers win the NFC
Bang,
West.
bang, Niner gang.
All right, in the NFC East. In the NFC East, I'm going to start this thing off. I'm going to go with a team that has a lot of controversy kind of swirling around it right now, but they did get better from a skill standpoint at running back and at linebacker with the additions of Saquon Barkley and Patrick Queen, respectively. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think this says more about the division itself.
My absolutely bat-ass crazy pick. I am picking the Commanders to win the division.
Ooh.
I think the Eagles are going to implode.
Wow.
The Cowboys are a disaster, and the Commanders are this year's Texans.
Okay.
Eagles.
Bold pick. Eagles.
Eagles.
NFC North, I'm going the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell's doing Applebee's ads now. The world is right. The Detroit Lions seem like a Super Bowl contender.
I wanted to pick something different here just to shake it up, but I can't.
All right.
I was riding that Lions train hard last year, and I'm not getting off anytime soon.
All right.
I, too, have the Lions.
Wow. All right, the NFC South, I got the Atlanta Falcons. I think Kirk Cousins will improve that roster enough to win that division, which is not a great division by any stretch of the imagination. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won it last year at 9-8. I think Kirk Cousins is a guy I do not trust to win in the playoffs, but I trust him to win that division. And my reasoning behind going with Atlanta over Tampa Bay, we saw the best version of Baker Mayfield last year. His offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, Dave Canales, is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers within that division itself. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons being the most talented team in that division.
I am going to go with those Bucs because Baker Mayfield did have that season last year. He was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. They have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, Mike Evans. Their entire offensive line is nice, good, solid, certainly above average. Defensively, they're pretty much set everywhere. I like that team as a whole. They're not a title contending team, but they're just a really good team. This is that perennial 9-7, 10-6 type team that we've always had for years where you're like, that's a playoff team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have in this division is a 10-7, 11-6 team is going to win this division.
I think Dusty looked at my sheet before we took the test today. I, too, have the Falcons.
I filled mine out very first. Very first one on the sheet.
Yeah, and it's basically just somebody has to win that division because
They're doo-doo.
Yeah.
They are doo-doo, baby. They are doo-doo, baby. I think it's going to be tough for Tampa, too, because do you know who their crossover division is? The AFC West, okay? The other crossover division that they have is the NFC East, which is not that bad. But because they were a playoff team a year ago, they also have to play the Baltimore Ravens and Detroit Lions.
Tough on the schedule.
So they have the Chiefs, Lions, and Ravens this year.
Their top 3 Super Bowl.
And the San Francisco 49ers are on their schedule as well.
Top 4 Super Bowl picks. It's tough.
Dang, maybe they're like, we don't want to win the division anymore. We don't want to win the division anymore.
You know what I hear there? There's 13 more chances to win games.
13 more chances to win some football games. All right, let's go through our wild card picks in the NFC. Whomst you got, Mr. Meringue?
I went Packers because I was splitting hairs. I just don't see the weapons there. I know some people really like the Packers offensively with LaFleur and Love. I like Christian Watson. I don't love him. Again, they don't have a number 1, so I don't understand how you can sit there and go, they're going to be one of the best offenses in football. It's hard for me to see that, but still a really good team. I am buying what the Rams are selling. Like I said, I'm going to go down that line. I have them as a wild card team. And then the Eagles, because the talent is overwhelming despite the stupid and probably the implosion.
Yeah.
I got the Packers, Commies, and Rams.
Oh, all right. Wow.
Yeah.
Commies
Great insight,
in there.
Bob.
All right, I got the Packers, the Cowboys, because this is who the Cowboys are. Good enough to get to the wild card, and then Dak Prescott dribbles it down his leg along with his coach, Mike McCarthy.
Do they give him an MVP just so he can lose in the first round and they can really beat him over the head with it?
Don't do that. And then my third wild card team, this is a team that I'm just going to ride with because I said they could be okay this year. Over-under on their win total is 7.5, which is very similar to a lot of these teams that we're talking about here. The Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, see, your Cardinals kink is kind of like my Commander's kink right now. We both have one where, like, we shouldn't believe in them.
No.
But there's something there.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr., Maserati Marv!
You have your crazy, Kyler and
Jonathan
Marvin.
Gannon. Jonathan Gannon as a defensive coordinator.
I'm going with my crazy with Jaden Daniels.
All right, do it. I do not feel comfortable about that, but hey, you got to have turnover in those playoffs. I'm turning that bad boy over with the Cardinals and the Falcons and Eagles. All right, AFC. Let's start in the AFC West. I think this is going to be a clean sweep. Danny, I'm making you say it.
It's the Chiefs.
It is a Kansas City Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs.
All right, in the AFC East, I'm maybe bucking a trend here. I'm going the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
I am going to go with the Bills because I'm still going to take the best quarterback, even without the weapons. I'm really interested to see what the play calling ends up looking like.
Yeah.
Is this a coach saving his job, or is this a coach getting fired?
It's going to go either way.
Because I think that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to have a coach show that he is adaptable and he's figured it out, or they're going to make a change at the end of the season.
Yep.
This was, I think, the division I struggled with most between the Dolphins and the Bills, but I went with Miami.
You know, I have a question. You can wear the Guardian cap now. Why doesn't Tua wear it?
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe because it's too on brand.
Like,
You mean Tua on brand?
oh, he's back. He's back. All right, AFC North, I'm going the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going the Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, healthy. Jamar Chase will be back. They have improved their offensive line tremendously across the board. We're drafting Mims out of Georgia as a right tackle. Then you also bring in Trent Brown this offseason. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to win that division, a war of attrition in the AFC North.
I love the Bengals. That is a team that I truly like. Outside of watching the Raiders, it is probably the team that I watch the most.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk about schedules. They have the Chiefs. They have the Eagles. They have there was one other one in here. Oh, the Cowboys for their non-conference games. And I was like, that's a tough slate. That's a tough slate right out of, for a team that's going to be working Jamar Chase back in, doesn't have Joe Mixon. So I leaned and I went Ravens. Against my better judgment, I did go Ravens. I was one of those people 2-3 years ago that was critical of Lamar Jackson, his inability or unwillingness to push the ball down the field, and his inconsistent accuracy with it.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, he has absolutely been nails there. So I don't have a reason to question Lamar Jackson anymore, so I'm going to go with them simply because I think they've got a little more juice now.
I did also struggle with this division between the Bengals and the Ravens, but in the end, the Bengals came out on top.
All right. AFC South. AFC South.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
You wrote the Texans.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did. I went back and forth. I'm sorry. I am going to go with the Texans.
Certainly not.
Yes. I'm going to go with the Texans. I waffled back and forth on this one,
Yeah.
as you can tell. I am going to not buy the regression.
Okay.
But I think you're looking at that game between them at the end of the season as what's going to decide that division.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that.
I think nobody is running away with this division. I do see the Texans, though, having a little bit of a regression, but this is going to be the team coming out of here is going to be 10-7, maybe 9-8. But I'm going with the Jaguars.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. The thing that holds me back from Houston is the fact they were that division winner. So their 3 games that are not the non-crossover divisional games, they will have to play the NFC North as a crossover division. But the 3 teams that they play outside of their crossover divisions, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Green Bay Packers. They have a tougher schedule this year. That's what happens when you win the division the year before. That makes things exponentially harder. That's why I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where instead of having to play the Baltimore Ravens, they are in the Chiefs. They get the Raiders, they get the Browns, and then their 3rd team that they play is also the Green Bay Packers. So 2 of those exponential. Oh no, the Packers are part of their crossover at the NFC North. Their other one, the Raiders. I already said them. The Eagles and the Browns. Raiders, Eagles, Browns. That's a lot easier than the 3 that you have for the Houston Texans there. So I'm going Jacksonville Jaguars. AFC wildcards. I got the Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, and Houston Texans. Those are my 3 wildcards.
Ravens, Bills, Chargers.
Oh.
I went Bengals, Jags, Steelers because Mike Tomlin is not going to let go of that.
Ooh. Hey, we will have a little update coming up on the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Super Bowl. Who do you got in the Super Bowl?
I went Ravens and Lions.
Ravens beating the Lions?
Indeed.
Ravens beating
Lamar
the Lions.
Jackson getting over the hump.
Derrick Henry gets a big old ring for his big old hands.
Mm-hmm.
This is a terribly boring prediction, but Chiefs, Niners.
Boo! I want new blood. I'm going the Lions Bengals.
I like it.
That is like, people look at that and be like,
Lions, Tigers, oh my.
they'd be like, that's the grossest Super Bowl ever. It'll be beautiful
Are
to
you
me,
kidding me?
damn it.
Stylistically, Lions and Bengals would be a fantastic
It would be
game.
the most fun game. Beautiful uniforms
Yeah.
too.
Stark
And
contrast, blue versus white and orange.
it's the big cat game.
Yeah.
You got big old cats
And if
playing
the-
Lions
hey,
versus Bengals.
The Lions and Bears meet in the NFC Championship. You have Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my.
Oh my.
See?
Oh my.
I
Who
know,
would be
you
the
beat
oh
me-
my?
You beat me to the Lions and Tigers and
All right.
Bears thing.
All right. Let's get
Had to
to
rush there.
Let's get to an update for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so our Super Bowl picks. I got the Lions over the Bengals. Feel not confident in that. You've got the Ravens and the Lions. Rust is vanilla ice cream over there. Chiefs over the 49ers for the three-peat.
What are you going to do?
I mean,
If you think they're the best 2 teams, you pick the best 2 teams.
yeah, well, I didn't.
I know. I thought
You
so.
did that.
So
and
there.
You're smart. Directional school, private university. That's the difference right there. All right,
that
we
I
have
got
an
kicked out of.
we have an update. We have an update out of Pittsburgh next on the Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on the Fan.
Langdon back to throw. Going to go deep down the right side. And that ball might be picked. It is. Nico Reed spinning around backwards, reaching out and grabbing the ball. That's an interception, Nico Reed.
Pre-game, game action, and post-game coverage of the Ducks' first Big Ten season is brought to you by Coors Light, Pacific Office Automation, and by Multnomah County Behavioral Health Division. The Ducks play here. 1080. The Fan.
Now, here's a quick look at Portland traffic.
On 217 southbound, looking at some brake tapping after Allen Boulevard to the Pacific Highway. And I-5 northbound, some brake tapping also approaching the Markham Bridge, and you'll stay slow to I-84. I'm Victor Zaragoza with traffic.
Ready to take your business to the next level? In today's fast-paced marketing world, staying ahead isn't just an option, it's essential. That's where Scale Marketing comes in. We don't just help you compete, we make sure you win. Whether you're looking to grow, expand, or overcome stagnation, Scale Marketing is your performance marketing partner. We specialize in helping mid-sized B2C companies with teams of over 100 thrive. Scale Marketing is a full-service agency offering expertise in performance marketing across traditional and digital platforms, creative production, and data analytics. We treat your money like it's our own, ensuring every dollar is spent with purpose and every decision is driven by data. Our knowledgeable team stays ahead of the trends, crafting strategies that align with your business goals. Partnering with Scale Marketing means gaining a dedicated strategist and a team committed to your success. If you're ready to lead the market, visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
Hey, it's Suk, and let's talk about your hair. You're losing it, right? And you desire to have it back? Well, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution for you. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close. They put hair where you need it the most, and then a little bam, and it starts growing. It's actually science, not magic. Advanced Hair has all the top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it to grow for life. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your free consultation now. It's 503-832-HAIR, and if you qualify, you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and they are the team I personally recommend. It's too late for me, but not for you. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online at advancedhair.com. 503-832-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
A couple of injuries in the NFL that are going to play a big factor. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson limited in Thursday's practice due to lingering calf tightness. Remember, this
Mr. Limited.
This is what kept him out of the first two preseason games. Why he played in the third preseason game is get that calf tightness. Not good. He's 35, getting up there. Calves, nothing to screw around with. Mike Tomlin saying they did it out of an abundance of caution. So, Russell Wilson, kind of on the shelf. If not, it'll be Justin Fields. Poor Steelers fans.
I don't know if this is necessarily an important quarterback update. I think it's just a quarterback update. You're going from one level of suck to another if he doesn't play.
Well, Mike Tomlin said he feels extremely comfortable if Justin Fields has to play.
Well, yeah, because you're counting on your quarterback not being good no matter what.
All right, here's a actually injury of note.
Mm.
Christian McCaffrey still dealing with calf and Achilles soreness. That one is lingering for a long time too. He's been out of practice for a while,
feel like
returned yesterday,
that's
and then
one you have to
today
address.
it's popping back up again because they're not just saying calf, they're saying calf
And
and
Achilles.
Achilles.
Which means shut it down.
Dude, boy. And this is why you need guys like Brandon Ayuk.
Mhm.
This is it right here. And I mentioned this yesterday, or 2 days ago. Christian McCaffrey is on that carries threshold too that we talk about with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it's a lot sooner. for
Guys
him.
break down because they worked him like a mule in Carolina
Yeah,
for
he's-
nothing.
Yeah, he's got like 450 touches a year.
And so you get that many touches, brother, it's going to add up and they come down on you like a ton of bricks. So I hope McCaffrey, they just kind of shut him down for a little bit, make sure he's back and get him healthy because you also don't want a Ferrari with a lingering injury. And that's what Christian McCaffrey
You
is.
park him for a month. You don't need him out of the gate.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's your injury updates. Take them.
Okay.
All right. I don't know how they do it, too. There's one other NFL note. Noah Gray just got an extension in Kansas City, tight end. 3-year, $19.5 million deal.
Where'd they find the money? Couch cushions?
I don't know. And now your $50 million a year quarterback in Patrick Mahomes is like a bargain. Maybe that's where you're getting it from.
So
remember when he signed a $500 million deal
Yeah,
and
we
people
were
were
like,
like,
"Whoa."
how are they going to do this? Me included. Well, turns out.
I mean, the thing about it wasn't necessarily the
He's
fact that he was getting
underpaid.
$50 million a year. Like that part of it made you understood where the market was going, but you had to put 40% in escrow.
I think all of the money that's guaranteed has to go into escrow.
Oh, is that
so
what it is?
every dollar that's guaranteed on
Which
that
a
contract,
big part of his was guaranteed.
it has to go into escrow, which is why their locker room probably sucks and they think ownership is not good.
Because they parked $200+ million in cash in an
Yeah.
account.
Yeah. Let me check that really quick. $210.6 million.
So it's like about 40%. Huh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
That's to put into perspective. I believe Jeannie Buss of the Lakers is worth $500 million, which means she would need to liquidate assets to put the money in the bank to pay that.
Not good, Bob.
Yeesh.
Not
and that's why,
good.
And that's why there's not 10-year deals in the NBA.
And he gets that. Oh, wow. He just restructured it to now it's more than $273 million guaranteed.
Oof.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, I'm gonna
And
need you to put
it's-
another $63 million away
It's over a 4-year period that he'll get that money.
because they deferred all of it to the back end. Good Lord.
No, they didn't defer. It's just non-guaranteed money in the back end of the contract. So none of that's deferred. It's all in 4 years. It's
Oh, you're
front
talking.
loaded.
Oh, you're saying it's front loaded. I thought you were saying it's back loaded. Okay.
No, that's why he gets it in 4 years.
I thought you were
That's a
saying
lot of money.
over 4 years at the back end.
No,
Still, $263 million,
73.
73 in
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah. That's why he's buying soccer teams and
Holy
stuff.
crap!
It's good to be Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes and his turd brother, Jackson Mahomes.
Hanging on for scraps.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, come up with the worst day on the web. Science is scary, and bugs now have explosive backpacks.
What?
Yeah. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the NFL season is finally here. Week 1 kicks off in Kansas City tonight with the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. 5:20 kick on NBC and Peacock. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. Wide receiver Hollywood Brown out for Kansas City with a shoulder injury. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin says Russell Wilson limited in practice today due to calf tightness. It's the same calf he hurt in his training camp conditioning test. Over in Major League Baseball, the Mariners start the day 5.5 games back of the Astros in the AL West. 22 games left to go. They've got a shot at making up some ground after the Astros shut out by the Reds today, 1-0. Ty France with a solo home run. Rhett Lauder gets his first big league win. The Mariners, meanwhile, in Oakland in a matinee with the A's currently 3-0 in the bottom of the third, thanks to home runs from Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez. The Giants and third baseman Matt Chapman have agreed to a 6-year, $151 million extension. The deal starts next year and replaces the final 2 seasons of a 3-year, $54 million contract he signed earlier this year. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. Today's worst day on the web with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Man, that sucks.
I hate when I find things like this because then I just get completely sucked in because the headlines are just so incredible coming from the science world.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, Julio Rodriguez heard you talking about him. Julio Rodriguez, right about the same time that you were talking about how down of a year he's having, hit the third longest home run of his career.
Good for him.
Exit velo of 111.1 miles per hour, launch angle of 27 degrees, hang time of 5.4 seconds, traveling 448 feet.
Nearly
Good
perfect. That's
Lord.
nearly perfect.
Yeah.
Exit velo actually sounds kind of low considering how far he hit that.
And in true Mariners fashion, nobody on base.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're up 3-0. They can't blow that.
Look,
there's no way they.
I'm not a J-Rod hater. I love.
No,
the
I
kid.
know you don't.
I want the kid to be really good.
Yeah,
but
it's just that them's is the rules. Is right when you talk about a guy struggling, he hits a home run. Yeah.
Transitioning to this, here's a home run for science.
Okay.
This headline is incredible. Kamikaze termites blow themselves up with explosive backpacks, and scientists have just figured out how. There is a termite in French Guiana that carries a highly volatile, toxic rucksack on its back that they're able to use to defend its colony when threatened.
Like toxic to people, or just other insects that are small? Like how terrified do I need to be of these termites?
It says it's rich in highly poisonous benzocaiones, which can immobilize or kill predators.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't either,
Benzocaiones.
because they don't say how dangerous or
I feel like
toxic it is to people.
people are predators. We're the apex predators right now. Take that, lions, bears. We got guns.
They're theorizing that it's because they're only finding it in quote unquote older termites that their jaws basically dull.
Oh.
And so this is their last way of like defending the colony. Is like they develop
Look at
this,
that for some evolution,
right?
huh?
Evolution's freaking terrifying, dude.
Yeah, maybe they're
It's like the mice on the island in South Africa.
Yeah.
That are out there
like that's how
eating albatross.
in 1,000 years wars are going to be won by us sending our olds.
loaded with IEDs.
Well, I mean, I would say like maybe naturally they start growing something like little fecal bombs or whatever.
Crap bombs.
Yeah.
Oh, the 118-year-old woman is out there being wheeled around. Lo and behold, she's got 6 pounds of C4 underneath her.
Yeah. That'd be wild, dude.
Well,
just glide in there with all that loose skin.
Well, there's another science story that I thought like a flying squirrel just dropped out of a C-130. Just flopping in the wind.
Gross. All right.
But yeah, this is it's a very specific thing. It's only happening in this one area. And the more I read about it, I was just like, why? Why is this a thing? Why are bugs and animals, why is the evolution getting so much more terrifying?
Because nature is getting more and more terrifying. I think that's it right there, my dude. Because, like, look, we have all of these insects and animals are facing extinction and are going away, which means that the predators turn their attention to something else. And these guys are like, no, not so fast, my friend. I'm not playing that game. My body's gonna find a way to kill you right back. And it's getting even more and more terrifying. Murder hornets. Remember when murder hornets were a thing? It's only a matter of time. And it was a story like this, and they're like, hey, there's these big Asian hornets. They're called murder hornets. And it's not a problem, guys. This is totally a problem over there. They got a whole ocean. And then like 2 months later, like, yeah, by the way, murder hornets are in Washington now. Yeah, we're gonna have these kamikaze termites in no time.
Yeah,
over here.
remember we actually located where the murder hornets were and snuffed them out.
Yeah, and started tracking them.
Yeah, they tied a string to one.
Which is like,
it's like, how the hell did you tie a string to this?
It's like my 7-year-old's plan. It's like, I'm gonna tie a string to this, and then he goes all like Lenny and crushes whatever he's trying to tie a string to.
It's like, whoa, easy. I didn't get the right
bud.
idea though. But no, remember they tied a string to it that had the world's smallest little tracking device back to its nest, and then we snuffed it down with using a laser from space.
I don't know about the lasers from space, but I think we went in there with something and we took them out.
Not true.
Yeah, it would be a lot cooler if it was.
Space lasers are pretty rad.
All right. Space Force is using the Star Trek logo. They made that official.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you the other day. They made it official, and
it's awful.
It's a complete ripoff of Star Wars or Star Trek. Oh, I almost said Star Wars and got the nerds really, really riled up.
You could have blamed it on me. I would have taken that heat.
Yeah, no,
I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
You
don't want that heat though.
It doesn't bother me. When I tell people I haven't seen Star Wars, they're like, aneurysm. Still haven't seen it.
Looking at the hazardous index of the benzo here, it'll mess you up pretty good.
Okay.
Like, it's not going to kill you, but it can cause serious vision disturbances.
I already got that.
Irritation of the throat and lungs, causing nosebleed, hoarseness, conjunctivitis in your eyes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Ulceration and vomiting. Like, it's not a good thing.
No, it sounds pretty terrible.
Could cause you to pass out.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't want that. That seems like Outbreak. That seems like the movie Outbreak. You know, weren't people like bleeding,
out of their
coughing
eyes.
up blood and bleeding from their eyes and stuff? Yeah, I don't want that.
Be your
So
little-
this is how Outbreak starts. It's not a little monkey.
Little outbreak monkey.
It's a termite. From where? French
Guiana.
All right.
There was one other note here that I almost went with. Did you remember you ever hear him at the con artist? Her name was Anna Delvey.
Yeah, I watched her thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna appear on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, get out of here
with an ankle bracelet on.
Okay, now bring her in. Put her on that show,
brother. The actual PR for the show is described as the notorious ankle bracelet fashionista.
Okay. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. This gets announced a couple of weeks after the Olympics happen. So they're like, hey, Ray Gun conned her way into the Olympics. Why don't we have a con woman on Dancing with the Stars?
But they would have brought Ray Gun on.
They need to.
You would tune in. It'd be like Deion Sanders at Colorado at the first game.
People would watch.
They tune into Hate Watch.
Yeah, but then
100%.
She would probably do a pretty decent job, and because they'd be like, "No, we are not going to lay on our side," and
you do have a partner that's going to basically do most of this,
and violently twitch on your side,
or any kangaroo.
We will not be doing the kangaroo kickback.
I would laugh if they spun her out like a one hand and she launched into the kangaroo kickback at the. Oh God, that's her signature move.
They're angling for it.
Oh, that's a great setup. Also on the cast of Dancing with the Stars, Tori Spelling, shocking. I thought she was dead.
No, Tori Spelling. I think her and her husband fell on some rough times last time I heard, which was like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know.
Oh, God, she looks terrifying.
Well,
there's a lot of really bad plastic surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
Like really, really, really bad.
Huh.
Oof.
Yeah.
Goodness. Okay.
Tori Spelling. Bank files for collection on $220,000 debt. That from a while ago.
Yeah, wasn't Aaron Spelling worth like hundreds of millions of dollars? Doesn't he have a house on what's the golf course in L.A.?
Yeah, she got
LA
written out of everything.
Yeah. Tori Spelling, Dean McDermott owe $400,000 in unpaid debt as of June 2nd of this year.
Living that life, yet still getting that plastic surgery.
Yeah. She's not the one with the ankle monitor on this show.
I might have buried the lead here. Also on Dancing with the Stars, Dwight Howard.
This is becoming an all-time weird cast of Dancing with the Stars. Athletes usually do really good on Dancing with the Stars.
But also, Dwight Howard's 6'9" and 280 pounds.
This ends with Anna Delvey and Dwight Howard getting married, right?
Well,
is that how this ends?
I don't think so, because
what?
Dwight.
Oh, that story of the trans woman online. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Doesn't he have kids though too?
I don't know.
I think he does.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hey, more power to him.
Look, I'd stayed away. The Dwight stuff got real weird there for a while. So.
Yeah, well, the reporting of it where she was like blackmailing him, and then all of a sudden it was like,
and then the text messages. And,
they all got released, and then it just kind of went away.
Yep. Everybody just went, well, that's too far for us. We're good here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. There's your weird stuff of the day. I'm gonna somehow pivot out of this.
Braylon Howard is Dwight Howard's first child.
There you go.
Yeah. It says first child, so I don't know if there's any more. Yeah.
This isn't a Antonio Cromartie situation?
He has 3 sons.
Oh, okay.
Braylon, Dwight III, and Trey. Trey.
Is Dwight Howard
and
a
then
junior?
David. And then he has 2 daughters, Layla and Jade.
Huh.
So he's got 5 kids.
He said Dwight Howard III. Is he a junior?
That would lead me. Yes, Dwight David Howard II.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And he named his second kid Dwight III.
Not the first.
Not the first kid.
That's weird.
Yeah, he went Braylon with the first kid and then Dwight III.
Braylon sounds made up.
Braylon is 17.
Wow. Really? And not on a AAU team that I've heard of? Seems like every kid that is of that age right now of an NBA player is an NBA prospect.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. I'll check to see what AAU team he's on.
Some sort of
it
street
says,
soldiers.
When you Google Braylon Howard, football comes up before basketball.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Going the other way.
He's only 5'11".
That seems like a Shaq and his original chick situation.
Yeah.
Where the height just didn't go all the way over for
5'11", 170-pound wide receiver.
Huh.
Yeah.
That growth spurt is going to be crazy. Going to be a tight end when he gets to college. Coming up next, pivot to college football and college sports in general, as the Big 12 and college football are both about to make some landscape shifting decisions. Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. Some news and notes here on the world of college sports in general, particularly starting with the Big 12. Remember, the Big 12 were not actually doing anything. They were totally okay with their membership and not making any changes. And now for a conference that was never making any changes, except they've put a pause on any negotiations with the University of Connecticut about expansion. Well, if you weren't talking to anybody, how could you put pause on negotiations?
Well, on Big Noon Kick on Saturday, they were in, Morgantown, West Virginia, for Penn State, West Virginia. They had the commissioner, Brett Yormark of the Big 12 on, and they asked him directly about UConn expansion. He said, I can't talk about that directly right now. So there prior to Saturday, there was like this deflection of no, nothing to see here. He did say, I can't talk about that directly. But what he went on to say after that is something that you should, if you're an Oregon State and Washington State fan, you could take it one of two ways. He said, we are looking for big names, big fan bases, big markets. Okay? Now,
which along those lines, I want to bring this up real quick. If you're Oregon State and Washington State. This weekend, you brought in, if you're Washington State, 223,000 views on CW. Oregon State, you brought in 381,000 views on the CW. That is not helping you.
That does not help you at all. But, I mean, you were playing Portland State and Idaho State, but those are also local brands as well.
AVP Volleyball, which was the lead-in, got 213,000.
Yikes.
So, take that for what it's worth.
That's not great, Bob. That is not
Inside the NFL got 267,000, splitting the difference between Washington State and Oregon State on the CW, which is in local markets.
Yikes. Well, on that note, you could take that as very bad news in that you do not have big fan bases, you are not big brands, and you are not in big markets.
Mm-hmm.
But the spin zone and they're talking about the future expansion. That hasn't really been what the Big 12 has done to this point, but now they're in a position of safety. They were in a position of survival.
Yes.
And now they are in a position of safety in that
you
they
call it
know that
strength.
they are going to survive. Well, yeah, I pause on strength because strength is what the Big Ten and the SEC are. They are safe in that they don't fear of being dissolved. The ACC does fear of being dissolved. And here's where it's scary if you're the Oregon State and Washington State and you hope to get into the Big 12 is that there are bigger markets, brands, and fan bases up and down the ACC.
And if the ACC, or I'm sorry, if UConn is one of them, you're in trouble because they're not a football brand.
No. And they've made no bones about it. They want to be a basketball
but
conference.
Again,
and look at the additions that they made, bringing Arizona in. They are a basketball conference through and through.
And that's where my safety part of it comes from, is that their safety comes from they will be lifted up by basketball.
No, yeah, that's where they are safe. They're safe in all of that. But Beav and Coug fans are looking at it going, well, of expansion eligible teams, our fan bases, who else are you going to take outside of UConn? Okay, who else would you take? And this is going to be the scary part for Oregon State and Washington State, is that the Big 12 could feasibly look at a school like UNLV this year and say, we want that. We want Vegas. Right now, the odds makers have said one of the top schools is shifted for the group of 5 team to make the college football playoff is UNLV. They do not have historically nearly as good as what Oregon State and Washington State have put on the football field. But they would look at it and say, it's a growing area, a market that we want to be in. A lot of money is sitting there, and they are in a growth trajectory, not a hold on for dear life. They could also look at San Diego State and say, Southern California, although the fan base is not big, and you do not have nearly as much history, you are sitting there going, okay, could they go for big brands, big markets? Vegas pops out, UConn pops out, and then any of those schools in the ACC, if the ACC does dissolve.
And there's another team in that group of 5 that is getting a ton of buzz heading into this week as Boise State gets ready to take on the Oregon Ducks. Coming up next, we have Bob Beeler play-by-play for the Boise State Broncos here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080am The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080am The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us. It is a NFL kickoff Thursday, but more importantly, it is a look ahead for the Oregon Ducks against the Boise State Broncos, who they have not played since 2017. It felt like it has been so much more recent than that.
Yeah, last time they played was Willie Taggart Las Vegas Bowl, where Willie Taggart dipped out and Mario Cristobal took the reins and took over the Las Vegas Bowl, where went Boise State's way.
And just earlier this week, it was the 15-year anniversary of the Blunt Punch.
Yeah.
Which I could not believe.
That's wild.
We were looking at that has been that long. Somebody who was all too familiar with the Boise State Broncos, Bob Beeler, play-by-play for the Broncos, joins us now ahead of the Ducks and Broncos underway. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff on Peacock Saturday night. Bob, thanks for taking some time for us.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's been a while since the first 2 regular season meetings. 2008, which was my first road game, the game that Kellen Moore, as a freshman, came over there, and it was a higher scoring game, and then it was a lower scoring game in 2009, which of course I guess now is pretty much known as the Blunt Punch game, as you guys described it. But and I mean, obviously Boise State's won all 3 games, but all 3 kind of different types of games. Boise State has been fortunate in this series, and from my perspective, I hope it happens again.
Of course you do. I was going to say, you might be the reason why Boise State is 3-0. I mean, all 3 matchups start your first year of calling games for Boise State is when these 2 teams first played, and it's been 3-0 since. But so I'm going to just go ahead and blame you, Bob.
Yeah, you can blame me, or if, on the other side, if you're wearing blue and orange, give me some credit. Yeah. No, I mean, and then if I'm not mistaken, we were trying to think about this. Oregon's had a different coach in every game, correct? The first one was Pilati. The second one definitely was Kelly.
Yep.
And then it was Cristobal filling in for Taggart, right, at the bowl game.
Yep, that is.
So fourth
correct.
time will be Lanning, and Boise State has had Peterson twice, Harsin, and then this will be Danielson's first time.
And I think that that's an interesting point because Boise State was that beacon of stability under Chris Peterson. Mm-hmm. I mean, it started, with Dan Hawkins and kind of building the program up. Chris Peterson took it over, and in 2006 through 2013, it was so much stability there. But since then, you've had Harsin and Avalos and now Spencer Danielson. What is it about Spencer that kind of has calmed the waters there in Boise?
He is one of those guys that just gets you to follow. I think he's a natural leader. And I think maybe the biggest thing that impressed me the most, and there's a ton of things about Spencer Danielson that impresses me, but that he has such buy-in from the players. We only lost one person in the portal. It was in like the 2 deep. That you're looking at and you're saying, wow, that kid played some last year. It was Green, the quarterback, went to Arkansas. And Green kind of got beat out as the year moved along. Matson was getting more and more playing time. He, of course, is the starting quarterback now. But I don't know. It's just something about it. I mean, I've never played football in my life. I've broadcasted a lot. But if Spencer Danielson was working with me that I could run through the line and get 3 yards, I kind of think I could.
Speaking of running through the line, Ashton Jeanty is an absolute dude. I watched a couple of Boise State games last year, and you could see the push that he was going to make this year as being pretty clearly the top running back in the country. He had an unreal performance against Georgia Southern. What is it about him that just makes him so unbelievably special?
There are a lot of things, but for me, number one is his ability to sort of assess the situation as he's running and just know where to cut, know where to, change direction. And again, very powerful, very athletic, very fast, but he just seems to be better than anybody I've seen at, knowing when to maybe, like, this is going to sound stupid, but when to slow down and let the defense over pursue and then cut back. Or know when to, okay, I've got to put it in another gear because that window is not very big and I got to get through it. That to me is something that I marvel at every time, that he goes. And I'll tell you, as a play-by-play guy, I learned a valuable lesson last week on his first touchdown run of 77 yards. Neither team did anything on the first drive, and so they punt it back, and Boise State has it on their own 23-yard line, 23-yard line it would have been. And I'm kind of setting the scene. I'm looking at the line because I was told maybe there'd be some either ors, maybe somebody would trade off. So I'm talking about the line. I've got the binoculars, and the next thing I know, before I've even given him the ball on the handoff, he shot through the line and is, running down the left side for 77 yards and a score. So I had to hurry up. So it's kind of like that baseball announcer that, you don't quite get the start. Here comes the pitch. And then all of a sudden the ball is driven, into, a Judge home run is like halfway to the moon by the time you realize what's going on. So I got to be better on point on any offensive play. I don't have time on the first play of the scrimmage to assess who might be in the offensive line. I got to do that faster.
How much of that has to do, not with just Ashton Jeanty, but Dirk Cutter. It's pretty rare that you have a former head coach of a program cycle back around to be the offensive coordinator. But the stops that Dirk Cutter's made between Boise, and right before that, he was the offensive coordinator at Oregon before taking over the Broncos program. But the stops that he's had since in the NFL, at Arizona State, he has kind of transformed that offense. What is different about Dirk Cutter's offense this season as opposed to what we saw a year ago from the Broncos?
I think the biggest thing is that I think he has Madsen really playing at a high confident level. And I think he does a good job also of seeing what he has and making the most of it. Now, I was not here when Cutter was the head coach. But he came back out of retirement the first time. Seems like a singer that, sometimes retires and then goes back on another tour. But he came back mid-season in 21. No, 20. Yeah, I think it was 21.
I think
21 or 22.
Yeah, I think it was 22 in Avalos' first
22,
year there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I was Avalos' second year.
Okay.
So they bring him back, change offensive coordinators, and then he has a quarterback that they kind of have to bring along in Green, who is a really good runner. And he kind of tailored some things that, used the skill set of Green. And then we had some other good running backs. Green wasn't, as good of a passer, at least percentage-wise. So he kind of went away from – we had a lot of big running totals. So it just seems to me that he's really good at kind of figuring out – what he has to work with and then accentuating it and making, playing to his group's strengths. Last year the offense featured Jeanty, especially towards the end of the season. We also had George Holani, who's now on the Seahawks practice squad. So we had a couple good running backs, but the offense last year through the first 2/3 of the season, they traded off quarterbacks between Madsen and Green in the middle of drives. So it was kind of weird in that sense, in that it's something you don't see a whole lot. I'm not saying it couldn't be successful, and there were times that it was successful for Boise State, but there were other times when they switched quarterbacks it was not. So it seems a lot more settled. The offense has, I don't want to say they'd have a plan, because I don't think they didn't have a plan last year. It just seems a lot more, the line is veteran. They've got a good group of receivers. They've got an A+ running back. Love the tight end, so it just seems like the offense is it's more polished than it was last year.
Well, it's interesting you bring up that quarterback position. I'm a USC guy, and so when I saw Malachi Nelson go to Boise State, I had an interest in say, okay, what's going to happen there? And then a pretty big national story is that Madsen wins out the job. What has that kind of been like, watching that, as Malachi was, looked at, depending on what recruiting service, as the top quarterback in the country in his class. And after leaving USC, I think there's an assumption that he was just going to step into the job there. What has Madsen done to kind of secure that?
Well, and Madsen chased another guy, Green, off to the SEC.
Yes.
So Madsen won the job. Madsen knows the playbook backwards and forwards. he makes the right decisions, gets them into the right things. I mean, he's like a quintessential point guard, at least the way he played last week, deciding who to give the ball to. And that was, you give it occasionally to Genty, you get it to him in the right spot, or Gaines, the backup running back, was in there. He got over 100 yards. And then, he completed, a nice number, 22 passes through for a career high 280 yards, by moving the ball around to different receivers. So Maddox is playing with a whole lot of confidence, and I guess kind of, had the percentage over 70% that kind of goes to his namesake of, throwing the ball in the right spot in the corners.
One guy that has worked his way up, he was, I think he got there in 2019, is safety Alex Tubner, who's an Oregonian himself. 6th year, kind of went through the COVID year and used that to his advantage with the COVID and a redshirt season. How about his development? Because he comes from a smaller school in the state of Oregon, went to Seaside High, which is a 4A high school here, but has worked his way into the starting lineup for the Broncos this year.
You talk about a guy who has probably had one of the more storybook, you might be able to make a movie about it, careers. Walks on. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Take a spot from a small school. Get a scholarship. Okay, you're doing a little better. And then the first time I remember calling his name a few times on special teams early in his career, because as a redshirt freshman, he got in and was on some kick teams. But then there was a time where our safety, who's now playing for the Broncos, J.L. Skinner, had a targeting penalty at BYU. Okay, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, this team's nationally ranked. Are they going to just go after the spot? And he was good. I mean, he came off the bench and just picked up like nothing was wrong, in for our all-conference player. And then the second time, it happened again during the season. Both times were, I think were first half, so it didn't carry over to the second game, but he had to finish out the game for us. And the second time he came in, I had confidence that, I saw it last time. He was good. He was good. They deserved more playing time and did well. And then obviously moved himself into the starting lineup, got defensive player of the game in the championship game, really came on last year in the final quarter of the season. Last 4 games, he had a total of 44 tackles, finished with a team high 85. Real sharp guy, a guy that they have chosen this year. You've got that one helmet radio receiver where you can have somebody talk to you from either the press box or the sidelines, on the play calls, or they give it to one player, and Boise State has given it to Tubner at the back of the defense. So he's a guy that, has done it all. And then, I think, as he said to me in an interview, we had him on the radio show this week, the best honor he could have was being voted captain, because that means that people on the team that are your peers think enough of you that they're going to, I think we have 4 of them. They're going to, out of 100 and some people, they're going to put you in that position to lead. So what a career. He says there's going to be a ton of people from Seaside coming to Eugene. I kind of sense it's about 2 or 2.5 hours, listening to him talk. But, I'm sure this game means a lot to him, because, a lot of times family and friends aren't going to drive 9 or 10 hours or whatever it is over here, but they'll be willing to drive 2 hours to see you. So I think he will have a lot of people, and, hopefully they get to see what they want to see.
Well, speaking of that game down in Eugene, both these teams, Boise State and Oregon, coming off wins I think both teams would be happy that they won. But if you hook them up to the truth serum, they probably weren't happy about the way they won their games. The Ducks weren't really able to punch the ball in, whereas the Broncos weren't able to stop the ball from going in on the other end. When you look at this matchup, what are kind of your takeaways, thoughts, ideas, processes for how this game has to go for Boise State for them to come away with a win in Eugene?
Well, I think number one, they got to get off the field on third down. I mean, they were 12 out of 19 that they allowed Georgia Southern to convert. Georgia Southern at one point completed 9 consecutive third down conversions. The game was 28-9. They were looking really, really good, and they allowed a touchdown with 18 seconds left in the first half. So you add 7 more, so it's now 28-16 at the half. And Georgia Southern gets the football first. kicks off. First two plays, they don't get much. Third play, snap squirts between the legs of the quarterback and rolls probably, another 15 yards behind. And the quarterback gets it and is scrambling and is obviously going to throw the ball away. And he gets rough the passer. Wasn't real egregious, but it was enough that they called. I mean, our guy did kind of push him and shove him a little bit. It wasn't like mean or anything, but flag comes out. So they get the first down. And then they convert it. They get into a touchdown, and now they scored 2 touchdowns in a row, and then we can't do anything with the football. Turn it over, I think, or give it up on downs. And then Georgia Southern goes back again and scores another touchdown. So it was one of those games where they just didn't get off the field. And then when you don't get off the field, your defense gets tired because instead of playing 3 plays on a drive, you've now played 12, and you've also given up 7 points. So I would say definitely the ability to get off the field, get a stop, and get the football back. And then, I'm not saying Genty needs to run for a school record 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. It would be nice to see that duplicated. But I think they're going to need to, move the ball and cash in. Genty is going to need to show that, he really is that good as a running back. And, the more he's touching the ball and carrying it, the less Oregon has it. And obviously the chances to score go up too.
Well, Bob, thanks for taking some time for us. We appreciate it. Have fun calling the game this weekend. Hopefully it's like every other game between Boise State and Oregon where it's a good old-fashioned just knock down, drag them out for Dusty's sake. I think.
Well, hold on. I don't want to say just like every other Boise State Oregon game. I hope it's a knock down, drag out fight. But I hope the other team wins one this time, huh?
Well, I don't like the way it's gone the first 3 times, so they can play the same song again, as far as I'm concerned. But it is. When you look at, and I know you got to move to something else, but when you look at programs in the last 20 years, 15, 20 years or so in the West, I mean, these two are really, really good. They've been consistent, and I think that's the thing that says the most about both teams.
Thanks again, Bob. We appreciate you, and hopefully we'll check in with you again, and hope it won't take 7 years for another matchup.
Well, I've seen some predictions that have us playing you in the college football playoff.
All right.
Oh, there you go. I'd love to see that. That'd be a fun little matchup.
Yeah.
Thanks again, and enjoy the game on Saturday.
Bye-bye.
It's Bob Beeler of Broncos Sports, play-by-play voice, and the good luck charm.
Look, there's a ton of connections between Boise and Oregon. Obviously, we talked about Dirk Cutter being the offensive coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator at the University of Oregon in 96 and 97. Eric Chinander, who's the defensive coordinator at Boise State now, he was defensive line coach under Chip Kelly and a linebackers coach under Chip Kelly at the University of Oregon. Stacy Collins is their special teams coordinator and assistant head coach. Stacy is a Western Oregon grad who was actually a defensive coordinator at Southern when I was down there, and he is. They actually went to school together and have coached together almost everywhere. Joe Lorig, the special teams coordinator at Oregon. Collins was just at Penn State last year, and then wanted to come back over closer to home and jump to Boise State this year. And then they got an assistant quarterbacks coach in Steve Cooper, who has coached at Portland State here. He was a teammate of mine down at Southern Oregon, and he's kind of bounced around. He was with Scott Frost at Nebraska as a quarterbacks coach out there too. A lot of connections to the state of Oregon on that staff alone.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting when you find those little lines to draw where you're like, oh, there's a lot of people that have come through the same doors.
It's been weird, like going through all this prep and just sitting there going, oh, okay. That's a familiar name. Looking at all of they got 6 guys on their roster from the state of Oregon, including their starting left tackle in Cage Casey, who's from Clackamas High School. And you want to talk about a road paver leading the way for Ashton Genty. He is 6'5", 315-pounder from Clackamas High School. And they've got, obviously, Tubner, who at Seaside High School was an incredible football player for the Seagulls out there. And just to think of, like, how old he is. He's sixth year in college. He played in the state championship game against the Banks Braves. The quarterback for Banks in that game in 2018 has been coaching on our staff for 2 years after he graduated. He's graduated college and is now is his second year coaching with us.
Meanwhile, the
this
guy that he
year
played against is still playing.
is going to be starting for Boise State this week.
Crazy.
At COVID year, you get a red shirt in a COVID year, you could be around for a really long time.
Just doesn't make any sense anymore. I don't understand it. I want to keep it in college football because there's some interesting news as it pertains to college football as a whole that is going to affect how things are done going forward. And then at 2:30 or the 2:30 hour, we're gonna make our picks.
Yeah, let's go.
Our first picks of the season. All that and more can be here on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. College football isn't done. And I think this has a lot to do with where things are with the Big 12 right now. It depends on which way you go. and how you believe this is
Like,
shaping up.
College football not done. It just started. We just had week 1, Danny. We
Well,
can't end it yet.
I'm talking about on the corporate and the legal side of things. And we've been talking about this for 2 years, and I have been banging this drum for as long as I possibly could, is that it's going to break away and be a wholly, totally different thing than anything we've ever seen in college sports.
Well, Ross Dellinger reporting on that earlier in the summer said that is exactly what Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, has recommended, is that they do break away and do their own thing.
And we are getting closer now, as Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports is reporting, that the preliminary approval of the House vs. NCAA settlement is expected today. Now, that doesn't mean it's done, because the one of the labor unions, I believe is ACLU, and another actual union is coming together with a group of plaintiffs across the board saying that they do not want this legislation to pass, simply because it passing the way it is currently written can affect kids that aren't even born yet, or kids that are 3 years old right now, because the duration of this deal is too far out and too long, and the damages being awarded is not anywhere near where it should be. This is where you see the North Carolina State group coming together, the UConn guys coming together, the Kansas guys. These are all in basketball for the name, image, and likeness. That is going to run this bill that is it started at 2.8. It's now up to $4 billion in damages. It's going to keep going up.
Yep.
And they want this case to basically be open forever. And I think they're going to end up having a pretty good case for it. And what they're saying is, for every bit of money as a percentage that these schools are going to make, they're going to have to put a percentage aside.
Yeah.
To pay for damages, because they have 50 plus years of irreconcilable damages.
Yeah, well, I think the irreconcilable part of it is what the NCAA is saying is like, how do you want us to make this up? Because you guys the government are the ones that gave them the width and the breadth of amateurism. Amateurism was created by the NCAA and politicians to make sure athletes didn't get paid. And so they're looking at it going, look, we understand that maybe we abuse that power, but you guys are the ones that gave us this power. So how do you want us to do this? And oh, by the way, what is going to be paying for a lot of these damages are public universities.
Mm-hmm. But also those public universities,
that's going to be a big,
they made billions off of things that they should not have been able to make billions off of.
Well, no, they should have, because they were given that authority by the government. Right? Like, and that's yes, it's what happened. It's not it's yes, that's what happened.
Again,
and so what
happened versus what's right.
And now everybody is sitting there and going, yeah, that ain't right. And the damages that are going to be given to the plaintiffs are going to be massive.
Astronomical.
And it will not touch the money that was made by the universities or the NCAA.
Even let's say it doubles. Let's say it turns into $8 billion. The NCAA turns that in 2 years in just basketball.
Yeah, but that will be the problem, that they're going to say, yeah, but we also distribute all that money out, which we'll see how that spending
Let's
is.
go ahead and take a look at those, what those commissioners are being paid.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Weird.
Very interesting. Yeah, so at least hopefully we'll find a resolution soon.
I think this is the beginning of it not finding a resolution, at least in this particular landmark case.
Okay.
So. All right, coming up next, we make our first picks of the season. We'll revisit how we did last year and look ahead to this year. And then after that, we will dive into tonight's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. But first, it's a big going with Sports Center Update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the NFL season is finally here. Week 1 kicking off in Kansas City with the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. 5:20 kick on NBC and Peacock. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites. Marquise Brown out for Kansas City. with a shoulder injury. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin says Russell Wilson limited in practice today due to calf tightness. It's the same calf he hurt in his training camp conditioning test. The Mariners start the day 5.5 games back of the Astros in the AL West with 22 games remaining. They've got a chance at making up some ground after the Astros were shut out by the Reds 1-0. Ty France with a solo home run and Rhett Lauder getting his first big league win. Mariners and A's currently locked up in a matinee in Oakland. It's 4-2 Mariners in the bottom half of the sixth. Home runs for the Big Dumper and Julio Rodriguez. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Soup on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rob with a message for those of you.
Horns. They're quite beautiful. Tell you what else is beautiful. Going 52-37-5 last year.
Don't give yourself that kiss of death.
I know.
You're giving yourself the kiss of death.
I'm enjoying it now because there is no way in hell I am finishing that good this year.
Yeah.
Last year, I went 52-37-5. Rust went 52-48-3, squeaking out. Boo. Dusty Harry, you closed strong and finished 47-51-2.
I think I melted down at the end of the year.
Did you melt down? I thought you closed strong.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's right. No, you had the hot run early in the season.
Yeah. Which is the gambling gods.
Yeah, because I remember I went 1-19 in a 20-pick stretch 2 years ago.
Yeah, that'll happen to you,
Oof,
dude.
that'll
brutal. Happen. Right, but it's a new year. We're all
it's
0,
a new year.
0, 0.
Clean slates, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to make our picks. 4 picks against the spread each and every single week. I'm going to say it with my chest because I do believe they're going to be a better team, and they are the team that if it is as good as I think it could be, they could squeak in. I'm taking the Bears -3.5 against the Titans. The Titans are not good. This is about as good a team for Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze to debut against in the NFL. 3.5 feels like an awful small number.
Yeah, 3.5. What scared me off of that one was Keenan Allen and Montez Sweat both being hurt and limited in Bears practice. Keenan Allen's got a heel injury.
And he has not looked good at all
No.
in the preseason.
And Montez Sweat's got a toe injury, and that's
problematic.
I don't like that when he's coming off the edge. But the Chicago is going to be improved.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely are. I'm going down to Sao Paulo for number 1. Packers +2 against the Eagles.
It feels like a weird line.
Seems like a sucker line.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take it. I'm going Packers
Gonna hit that
+2.
bait, huh?
Yeah. I'm going to go Packers getting points in Sao Paulo. It's not like you're heading into Lincoln Financial Field and playing the Eagles. The Eagles are working in brand new center. Jason Kelsey retired. Fletcher Cox retired. Leadership void is there. I think the Packers pounce on them early.
Both teams had to fly 10 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
That's tough. What do you got, Rust?
Starting out in Kansas City tonight, taking the Chiefs -3 versus the Ravens. I just feel like Chiefs are going to come out. They're going to have something up their sleeve. And as we talked about earlier in the show, Lamar Jackson has struggled against Kansas City.
I like it. I am going to go my second pick. I'm going to take the Texans -3 versus the Colts. I do believe the Colts are going to be improved. I'm really interested in watching what Anthony Richardson can or can't do this year. Will he avoid the hits? Will he actually get after it and not tuck the ball and run? Remember, we had the inter squad practice where they asked.
The Bengals were chirping him.
Yeah, does all this guy does is run?
Yep.
Let's see if he can actually throw the ball. But I picked the Texans to win that division. I still believe they're going to get it done. 3 points feels like a nice little spot to go right out of the gate here.
I'm going Vikings -1.5 in New York against the Giants. Pass rush is going to be ridiculously good for New York. But how do they score points? Question that I have. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold and the Incredibles villain to beat the New York Giants on the road to open up the year by more than 1.5 points.
That just seems fake.
Money, though. Seems like money, though.
I'm taking the Falcons -3.5, hosting the Steelers. We still don't know.
It's the Steelers.
It's the Steelers. We still don't know who's going to suit up for them on Sunday. Kirkers, this isn't a primetime game, so he should be just fine.
I think 300 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kirkers seems like it's well within the realm of possibility. I'm going to take it to the limit. I'm going to take the Jags as underdogs, +3.5.
He took it to the limit.
They're playing the Dolphins. So they're staying in the state of Florida. The heat's not going to bother them. If they're going to take the step forward that I think they're going to, they need to do it here against the Dolphins.
I'm not a buyer of the LA Rams without Aaron Donald, so I'm going to take the Detroit Lions -3.5 at home against LA.
Taking the Chargers -3 versus the Raiders.
Boo!
Because Raiders.
He makes a great point.
Reminder.
He made a great point.
Reminder. Who beat him last year?
That's a different year. They got Jim Harbaugh now.
You can't Brandon Staley that.
I can.
You can't Brandon Staley that. Don't put that Brandon Staley stink on Jim Harbaugh.
I too, my last pick, I am going to take the Vikings -1.5 against the Giants. That feels, again, fake. I don't care how good that pass rush is, and I don't care how average Sam Darnold is.
Yeah.
Average is still better than poo-poo.
Yeah.
And that's the Giants' offense.
My final game, I'm taking the under 41 points in the Bengals-Patriots. The Bengals could win 35-3, and we hit the under.
And that's believable.
Right?
Yeah.
28-10.
I was watching the Ravens 30 for 30.
31-7.
The Ravens won a Super Bowl not scoring a touchdown for a month.
24-14 even. Right? I'm hitting the under.
Uh-huh.
All of those scores, I'm like, I could see that. I could see that. You know what one I don't see? 27-21.
Nope.
Don't see that coming down the pipeline in this game. Give me the under. Bengals Pats.
You know what I can see is the smoke coming out of Dusty's ears after doing all that math on the fly.
Does not compute.
Actually, football math I can do.
Yeah.
It's totally easy for me. If there's one math I can do,
touchdown, field goal.
I remember my multiplication tables when I was in school. My teacher told my parents, like, he does really good with sevens. Like, yeah.
That tracks.
I got
Come on,
that.
seven. Come on, 7.
Gonna have to do my total homer pick. Jaguars +3.5 at the Dolphins.
Road dog.
Yeah, hopefully we have a healthy bounce back from a healthy Justin Lawrence.
You know him so well, you call him Justin.
Yeah, I'm having a big time brain fart right now.
That's okay.
Trevor Lawrence.
I did math.
Yeah, there we go.
so-
Yep. Here I go. That's what I get. That's karma. But yeah, Jags plus 3.5.
All right.
I like it.
God, picks are. It's so good to have picks back. Let's go, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, the picks are back. Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks. Bom, 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 bom. It is good. It is good to have ball back.
We get it. We get it less than 3 hours away. We are 2 hours and 20 minutes away. 40 minutes away. See, math. Time
Yeah.
I can't do.
Yeah, I know.
I can't do time.
I'm gonna hop on the Peloton and watch some ball tonight
2 hours and 40 minutes. Let's go.
on the new TV.
Oh, it arrived?
The new TV is being delivered in T-minus 18 minutes.
All right. Yeah, you get a
So-
new plan. You got to get a new TV,
Oh, you
brother.
kidding me?
That's right, brother.
I'm super excited to set that up when I get home.
Yeah, buddy.
My wife has no idea that I'm kicking her out of the living room.
Well, she's about to find out.
About to find out.
About to find out.
All right, coming up next, we will preview that game between the Chiefs and the Ravens as the NFL gets ready to kick off, as Dusty said, in under 3 hours. Danny and Dusty, today the Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome.
We kicked Dusty Hera out of here. Well, he's got to get going because apparently there's a fire on the way back home for him.
Yeah, I think he said 26 is closed, trying to get to Banks.
And he's got to go do some coaching.
Yes.
So we kicked him out of here early. That way he doesn't get stuck in traffic for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But we do have football underway in, 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes here, roughly.
5:20 kick, baby.
Babe. That's super soon. Chiefs-Ravens is about as marquee a game as you can get outside of Chiefs-Niners. This is the battle for supremacy. And we talked about it earlier in the show, the whole idea of how a team can really set the table. And I don't know if necessarily the Chiefs can set the table for their season here because the hope or the expectation for them is to do the impossible. That is to be the first team to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. I hope it doesn't happen. They was like, oh, you don't want to see history? I'm like, no, I don't want my rival team to be the team that does it.
I hope it happens just for pride because I picked him.
You're disgusting. I hate you. You're tacky, and I hate you. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think he's incredible. I love Travis Kelce. And the Taylor Swift thing, where that's coming back tonight.
Oh, yeah.
She make an appearance at the game?
I have no idea.
I'm surprised we haven't heard a word about her.
Right?
What the hell is the NFL doing?
Falling asleep at the wheel.
I have not heard a single word about Taylor Swift. What is happening here?
Who knows?
How is that possible? Is this the lead into the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift proposal? Is that what this is? Is that why it's so quiet? Where are the Swifties at with that? I saw that pop up a couple weeks ago that was coming. I was like, oh no, is that man prepared for that for the rest of his life? Goodness gracious. But the Ravens and Chiefs, I think this is, again, I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I think this, much like the Lions last year, the ability to set yourself up with a marquee win, and this is like kind of going big game hunting when you're the big game itself. So this is Lions and Tigers, right? You know, the Chiefs are the Lions. They are the king of the jungle. Every now and then, though, you can pick off a lion, and what that does for you and what that can set you up, both figuratively and metaphorically, because the actual Detroit Lions did pick off the Chiefs last year, and everybody went, whoa, the Lions? And guess what? It set them up for the entire season and has propelled them into being a Super Bowl contending team.
Yep.
I think you can do the same thing here if you're the Ravens. And it's not to say that the Ravens were in the same place the Lions were, because nobody's questioning what the Ravens are, right?
Right.
You've got an MVP quarterback. You've got an organization that drafts and develops incredibly well. You've got a good defense. You've got weapons. You went out and brought in Boss Hog himself, Derrick Henry. The ability to take the wear and tear off of Lamar Jackson, where the running game was built around Lamar or his ability to run. I'm really interested to see what that, because it's not a thunder and lightning, Lendell White, Reggie Bush situation. But it is, Derrick Henry is going to play you between tackles. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson is going to try to get on the edge, and he has been smarter and smarter about it over the last couple of years about not getting hit. And the other part of this, where he's lost weight, where a lot of other quarterbacks have put on weight. Josh Allen has talked about putting on weight. Mm-hmm. And remember, Anthony Richardson was on with McAfee. Like I think he said he weighed 255.
Man.
255.
Wow.
6'4", 250. Again, that's DJ Uiagalelei. That's the same size. That's
but I think built differently.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson's built in a lab.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson's talked about losing weight and being lighter, and it's like, does that help him in the wear and tear of the season? I'm really interested to see just stylistically how different the Chiefs look, what they're going to have to rely on. They're not going to have some weapons. Obviously, Rashee Rice is in a whole heap of trouble. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on IR or IL. I can't remember. Or not on IR. PUP list, I believe.
Non-football injury list?
I believe so, yeah. So there's a couple guys that they're going to be missing. And again, Chief Superfan, not going to be in the stands because he's getting 17 and a half years in federal prison.
Don't rob banks.
Yeah, that's the thing about, bank robbery, not a big deal. Federal crime, folks.
Yeah.
That's real time. That ain't county jail. That's, you rob banks, you break federal laws.
Yeah, and you're not going to the country club.
Yeah, no. They put you in hell. So, isn't it weird? Like, this is a quick derail. Goudreau, the hockey player who was just killed by the drunk driver.
Yes.
The guy has been charged with 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter, 10 years apiece, a maximum of 20 years.
Yeah. For killing 2 people.
Killing 2 people.
17 and a half years for bank robbery.
Robbing banks.
Yeah. Well, you wonder too how many counts that were.
But I mean,
those
like,
were, you know what I mean?
It seems like in the end, the math should math.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Lives lost, money. Like, you print more money, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not. You can't print more people.
Right.
I mean, give us a few more years. We can.
3D printers.
But mild derailment. I look at this game, Chiefs and Ravens, and I wonder, is this the year one of the top teams falls off? Because one of the thing the Chiefs have had is, and I don't wish this on them.
Right.
They have had astronomical health.
Yes.
At the positions that matter.
They have had a very good run.
Whether it's been Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, the guys that have been the major impact guys, they have been unbelievably healthy.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ravens, not the case. Is this the year the Ravens can stay healthy?
Yeah.
And do they finally get the injury luck? Because injury luck is maybe outside of talent, not even maybe, outside of talent is the singularly biggest decider in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You look up and down the board, what allows teams to be successful or unsuccessful outside of talent?
Injuries.
Or
lack thereof.
Yes. And the Chiefs have, whatever magic sauce they have had, has truly been incredible.
It's that Kansas City barbecue.
Right? Maybe Kansas City barbecue is the supreme barbecue. Texas is out here like, Memphis is like, Look, I'm a Carolina barbecue guy, but look at the Panthers.
Yeah. Oh, I love a good like vinegary Carolina
right?
sauce.
A little mustard, a little.
yeah.
God,
I'm hungry.
Yeah, but you know what? Now barbecue supremacy might be it, because look at Dallas. They're an S show. The Cowboy or the Panthers are an S show. Tennessee's going through it. God,
it's that Kansas City barbecue.
Kansas City barbecue. Andy Reid. I'm drawing all the lines here, man. My tinfoil hat's getting tight. I am like you. I am going against you tonight. You picked the Chiefs, right?
Yes.
I am picking the Ravens tonight. I think
right.
this is their opportunity to get right. And I think for the Chiefs, it's less about getting that number 1 seed and being the best team in football all the way through. And it's about making sure you're online, on track, and ready to go throughout.